I told them that I need to be involved.
So the rest of the world, Africa's a big zoo, you know.
That's kind of awesome.
Mr. President, there's been an intrusion. Let's go, move.
How does one play the leader of the free world? How do you get that presidential image? How do you project that?
Well, I think being a president has to do with leadership. It has to do with honesty, integrity, courage, compassion, and that's what I tried to embody. You know, the president is not, it's not a political movie. He's not legislating. He's, you know, basically he's a father and a husband in this movie. Antoine Fuqua, the director of this movie, the great director of this movie, wanted the president to be tough. So he put a scene in the beginning of the movie where I box with my friend and Secret Service agent, Mike Banning, who is played beautifully by Gerard Butler. And so he wanted the president to be able to take a punch and to be able to punch when he needed to. And that's something that's a little different in our movie. Not only has the White House been taken, but our president is physical and capable.
How much of the hand-to-hand combat was real, and how did you have to train for it?
For me, that's as much part of the performance as the speaking, the moving, the relationships, because that's how you say so much about your character, especially when it's an action character. You know, who is he? How does he take out people, or does he take out people? And the interrogation, you know, there's this little bit of enjoyment going on in there. It's I hate to say it, but because of the situation in the movie, it's quite a kind of delicious way of moving through the White House. He's brutal and he's uncompromising, and therefore you got to train like that. So I was training with Navy SEALs, martial artists, SWAT team, and you just get in the gym as often as you can, and you start working those moves, and you make them as tight as possible, and then you also adapt them. Because you're constantly saying, well, I could do this move, but if I did this instead, you know, and then stab them 4 times in the heart, that's kind of awesome, rather than a fancy. So it's interesting to try and tell some of the story through that way. And I have to say, when you watch the movie and you watch those fight sequences, they're kind of kick-ass.
What is your ideal role?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's one that goes 1 to 10, 10 to 1, 1 to 10, 10 to 1. I don't want to live in the middle. I'm not an actor that wants to live in the middle. The middle to me is boring. I want roles that push me to my extremes, that get me out of myself, where the audience goes, whoa, 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 you know. And then by the end of the movie, they're wrung out, you know, but they've seen every emotion, happiness, ecstasy. They've seen despair. They've, you know, really been punched in the gut. That's the kind of movies that I like.
I mean, I think I've been fortunate enough to play a couple of my ideal roles. You know, this is an ideal role. 300 was really an ideal role for me. You know, even a little movie I did called Dear Frankie, which is just such a touching, beautiful movie. That I think I've been able to play some ideal roles. If there was one that I was still to play, there's a couple of Scottish characters that are very famous. It's almost like doing it for my country. Robert Burns, who was the Shakespeare of Scotland. Robert the Bruce, who was a great Scottish warrior. But you know, to be honest, the roles that have been those ideal roles so far were never roles that I knew about and wanted to play. The roles that came my way and went, oh my God, this is perfect. So I think it's more about being open to surprise, being open to anything, because you never know what's coming your way.
You've both been to South Africa before. What have you been up to this time? What are you looking forward to doing?
Well, I got off the plane and jumped in a car. We went downtown, checked that out. We went to Sandton. We went to Alexandria. Tomorrow I'm going to a safari park. We went to the premiere and met the people. That's the most important thing. You know, what is South Africa like? Somebody asked me, well, is it really about the safari parks and that? I mean, to the rest of the world, Africa's a big zoo. You know, that's not the case. You know, a country's identity is in its people. And so last night we were able to meet the people of South Africa, feel their energy, and it was really great at the premiere.
To be honest, I haven't had the adventures in this trip that I've had before. I made a movie here. I was here for 2 months. I was out in the cradle of life. I was working out in the wilds, and that was, to me, the most rewarding time here, except for time in Cape Town. You know, I rappelled down Table Mountain once, which was a disaster. But and I've been on safari here. I mean, I've done a lot of stuff here. That unfortunately won't happen on this trip because I got to shoot off to Mexico City to do more press.
Thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your trip here.
Eyewitness News, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, log on to ewn.co.za or ewn.mobi.